to Get Wrecked, a podcast brought to you by Rectify Gaming. It's about video games and maybe learning a little something about yourself.
Yeah, reaching deep inside oneself to learn.
Right, yeah. I am one of your hosts, Evan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Jan.
Jan, we actually flew all the way in from LA for this episode. So thank you for being here. This was
Thanks for paying for that $1,300 ticket.
You're welcome. And we just thought it was, we spared no expense.
Yeah.
We can't afford not to. That was the...
Well, I definitely couldn't afford it to begin with. So I was like, it's pennies at this point, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to get the gang together and talk a little bit about Blizzard. Just a little. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it just because what's left to be said.
Yeah. Just starting it off light. We're going to go ahead and start it off.
Do we want to get banned in chat? Like, how far do we want to go here?
I mean, honestly, I think it would help my brand if I could get banned. People would be like, who's this guy who just got banned?
He's getting banned.
Look at this guy getting banned.
Yeah.
Hoarding notoriety always helps.
Well, let's go ahead and start. Have you guys played any Winnie the Pooh games lately? Because there's a few great ones. Tigger's Honey Hunt, perhaps.
Oh, so, that's all I did in Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3 and 1. I went back to play Kingdom Hearts 1 so I could do 100 Acre Wood stuff nonstop, front to back all day.
But no, I wanted to just take a quick second. We're not going to spend the whole time talking about it, and just kind of just be like, "What's up, Blizzard? What's up?
Yeah,
what's up?"
It kills me that it's not the people who make the games, right? Like the people who make games are not responsible for banning content and deciding tournament rules and stuff. And I will just go ahead and freely admit that I am biased against executives.
Just historically speaking.
I say in the privacy of my own home to my close friends, and whenever there's a microphone nearby, I will express how much I dislike executives.
He goes to a hotel and they offer him an upgrade to the executive suite. And he's like, no, sir.
No, thank you.
Do not insult me with this. Call it a presidential. Well, crap.
That's even worse. But yeah, so if anyone, I don't know who would not know this, but if anyone is curious, doesn't know this, Blizzard had some dude win a Hearthstone tournament, and on that Hearthstone stream, like in the post-game interview, basically, he said, "Free Hong Kong, now is our revolution," or something like that.
Yeah, revolution in our time. Something like that.
it's the slogan of the protests there. I won't get into the nitty-gritty of the protests, but Blizzard saw it fit to not only ban this guy for a year, also take away his winnings that he won fair and square, and then fire the casters who were just interviewing him.
Which, did you see the clip? Like as soon as Blitzchung is the player.
Yeah.
When Blitzchung said that, both commentators tried to dive under the desk.
I saw that. Yeah.
They were like they know it's like, oh shit, this is not going to end well for anyone on screen right now.
Yeah.
And they were totally right.
Well, and I don't want to, oust you too much, Nick, because I didn't want you to get banned by the Chinese government. But you're a Hearthstone commentator. How do you feel about this?
It's uncomfortable. I've been streaming Hearthstone for quite a while and commentating like international events
at Dollar Bills Nation on
right.
Twitch.
That's right. But now I'm in this. It's awkward at best. It feels because there's no. It doesn't seem like they've left any room for people to just because they did something, right? It would have, in my mind, it would have been better if they had done nothing, right? Because then they would have done the classic corporate dodge of just like, we're not involved in any of this.
Nothing. If they were like, even if they had banned him for 6 months outright, because what they have done is they walked back after people were pissed.
Oh yeah, the employees are rioting.
They came out this, let's say the 12th. They came out like last night and were like, they'll give him his winnings back, but he's still banned. It has nothing to do with China. And it's like,
does it?
Press X to doubt. You know what I mean? Like,
I just have a hard time believing it wasn't influenced by money.
No, of course it was. Of course it was.
Any time a corporation tells me this is not because of money, and it's a thing that clearly doesn't, seem to match their values, it's got to be money.
It's always about the money, man.
It's got to be about money.
Always.
As John McClane would say. There's a great opportunity here for a company to be like, actually, no.
Yeah.
And we've seen, and it's not like Blizzard is alone in this. Pretty much every U.S. corporation has been indebted in some way.
Yeah.
But literally and
except,
figuratively.
I'll say credit to Ubisoft. They were like, boom.
But they're not U.S.
Middle fingers. Yeah.
They're French.
Well,
Those guys
true.
are born with their middle fingers up in the air.
That is true. All right, that's fair.
Their first words are probably something along the lines of La Revolucion.
What, we can piss some people off? Yeah.
Yeah, but I just wanted to touch on that quick because
for sure.
if we're a game show, it would be fucking absurd if we didn't talk about it.
And it's changing every day because Blitzchung went from, because he's a professional Hearthstone player, grandmaster, right? So his job is to play Hearthstone every weekend, several times on broadcast, and he's a professional athlete. He's as close to a professional athlete as a card player can be, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
right.
You know, as much as like a pro poker player, stuff like that.
Fingers.
Oh yeah, fast, dexterous.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So Blizzard was basically like, you're gonna have to find a new job, right? Like they didn't just like, hey, we're suspending you for like 6 months with pay or something like that. They're like, no, you're shit canned.
You don't even get the pay.
Yeah,
in fact, the opposite.
Yeah,
you were gonna have pay.
You don't get to be in Grandmasters. We're taking away your prize winnings, and you won't be able to get back into Grandmasters in time to qualify for Worlds. It was like that's the meanest spirited thing you can do.
Oh, it's the worst.
and this is not a 1-to-1 comparison, but like Colin Kaepernick in the NFL, right? Like this is maybe like proof that like esports are finally hitting the mainstream is when they start treating their players like this.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, like shit. You mean?
Yeah, like horribly. Like, okay, Colin Kaepernick took a huge stand in a very respectful way and has gotten nothing but punished for it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Oh yeah, he got blacklisted from the NFL.
Yeah, exactly, and they won't admit it, but they've done it, and that was his livelihood.
Yeah.
What's going on with the NBA in China right now? I heard the Rockets are in trouble or something.
Yeah, so a similar thing. One of the GMs, they're actually, my understanding is they're kind of on the right side of these things, but possibly not. My understanding is the GM of the Houston Rockets made a like free Hong Kong post or whatever, and China responded by banning all the Rockets games and removing all the Rockets merch and all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. But the chairman, basically the head of the NBA, was like, he could say it. We don't like support it or not support it. He could say what he wants. It's America.
Yeah.
And it, like the most neutral response ever, but it was still like, no, not good enough.
And but what happened to, because like the most standard writer that I see, and I'm sure you guys see it too, working in media all the time, any commercial, anytime there's anecdotes or opinions, there's always a disclaimer in there. The views expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect the views of X corporation.
Oh yeah, no, it's
everywhere.
At a certain point, you have to have that. Like my girlfriend works for CNN, and she has to have that in her like Twitter bios and stuff.
So is that just not good enough anymore, or
it's a good question. I want to say that our thoughts and feelings do represent Rectify Gaming's 100%. How we feel is how everyone in our organization feels. Yeah. That is true. From Wonder Bread to Pickle, like everyone feels the exact same about everything. Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna make some crazy fucking stances right now, just so you know that everyone feels the same about it.
Of course.
The moon. Not real.
Not real.
We invented it to win the space race.
The Earth, not flat, not round, cylindrical.
That's true.
Flat on top and bottom.
Like a can of Pepsi.
That explains the oceans.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. Jan, would you have a fun stance that you'd like everyone to believe?
Oh, those are the most important.
The most important ones. Yeah.
But I don't think that ants, like ant colonies underground.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything down there.
I
think it's just a little hole.
Just a little hole.
And I think there's like 10 ants.
Just stopped.
Yeah. And they're like, no, we got a whole colony down here.
You can't see it, so
exactly.
Don't fuck with us, or else we're going to have to get the whole. Yep. I'd hate to have to do that.
No, it would be terrible.
It would be bad.
Now, since you're visiting the Southeast, as a follow-up to that, what about an ant colony of sisters of uncles?
Oh, like an ant.
Yeah,
like an ant colony.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
Are those real?
I love Bridge. It's one of my favorite games. So I'm fine with those.
That's good. That's good. Actually, I was going to spend a large portion of this podcast talking about a Bridge video game.
I mean, this is a gaming podcast.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
right.
Like we got all the basics: Bridge, pickup sticks, jacks.
Oh, jacks.
Jacks. Marbles.
Yeah.
All the other classics. But what I actually wanted to talk about this show is some of my friends, including Nick Pills, have been playing Borderlands 3.
Mm-hmm.
In prep of Borderlands 3, I've been playing Borderlands 2. And I got to tell you, some of the jokes don't quite age well. I mean, not even a little. I mean, not even like not the smallest amount. Like, it's to the point where it's not even like, I see what you were going for. It just feels like you just referenced it with no tact or anything.
So do you have like one in mind, like an example in mind?
No, here's what I know. In Borderlands 3, there is a "What are those" reference.
Ooh.
Yeah. A hot, steaming "What are those" reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was old, like a year ago when it was in Black Panther.
Yeah, exactly.
And we were all like, it's okay, though.
We were like, it's. I get it. Movies take a lot of time.
Yeah.
But something I wanted to talk about is comedy in video games, because they're obviously like part of storytelling. Comedy is like kind of an essential part of any narrative, I think, or at least most of them, at least a lot of them, at least a percentage of them that you can't play a lot of video games and not see some attempting to tell some fucking jokes once in a while.
Oh yeah, you'll probably find some jokes if you play some video games.
Right.
What is the function of comedy in general? I think it's to release tension.
Yeah.
As a cathartic moment. And video games are designed to have that cycle on repeat, like nonstop. So like combat events are like a couple minutes long, and then it's super intense. How do you kind of break that tension? It's kind of like a James Bond movie.
Right.
So James Bond's fighting bad guys for 2.5 minutes, and then there's a one-liner, or any action movie. And so like I think a Gears of War game, for example, generally, I haven't played one in a very long time, but you chainsaw a bunch of aliens in half, and then Phoenix is like, and
that just happened.
That just happened.
I've been playing Gears 5 a little bit.
How is it?
And it's a real fun Gears game.
Yeah.
If you've enjoyed Gears 1 through 4 and Judgment, you'll probably enjoy 5.
That is fair. That is fair.
If you didn't, this is not going to change your mind. Adding an open world skiff is not a gameplay revolution that'll bring
breaker.
people back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Incredible.
But there was. So you go through a fight, chainsaw a bunch of robots, aliens, whatever, and then Phoenix Jr. Comes in and says, "Yeah, we wiped those assholes clean." I know what that sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, and as you were describing, it was like, yeah,
there it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
Them's a joke.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whether it lands or not, whether you find it funny or not, that is the point. That is the joke.
Yeah.
So when a game like Borderlands does it, I feel like it's so tied to the identity of those games. Is that what you're scratching at, Evan?
Well, yeah, exactly. That's kind of my, like, they are like rooted in pop culture and stuff, and that's some of the charm. But an interesting thing before we move on from it, the release of tension is really interesting, I think, with Borderlands specifically, because Borderlands is like all tension. Like when you ramp all the violence and stuff up to like the billionth degree, which Borderlands so often does, I think that like having a lot of jokes in an environment like that makes a lot of sense when you put it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've enjoyed those games. I like generally playing those games with friends.
Yeah,
me
too.
And then we're funnier than the game.
Yeah,
that's and then just in games in general, that's how I like to play games.
I think most people are funnier than like when you go. Seldom do you go like watch a movie, like even a comedy movie, that makes you laugh harder than just cutting up with your pals.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I have played plenty of first-person shooters, and even the Gears games, which I find to be funny in a very like, wow, this masculinity is beyond toxic.
I'm a guy wearing a barrel.
It's a power fantasy.
It absolutely is, and that's a game that warrants joking with your friends or even taking it to a higher degree.
Right.
But I know that we don't want to spend too much time talking about this, but talking about tension, I think there are games that are extremely good at creating it, like the Fallout games, for example.
Oh man.
Where you get into a new vault and you don't know what's going on in there. And generally it's not just loaded. I mean, there are some vaults that are just full of enemies, but like every vault's a mystery. And it's like kind of pulling on that rubber band if we're talking about tension the whole time.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you read the consoles and they're actually very funny. They're darkly funny.
There's definitely a lot of them that are like, we named everyone in this vault Kyle, and let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Yeah. And then you start, like, as you proceed throughout this dungeon, see the repercussions of those decisions.
Of being named Kyle.
So like it establishes the premise really early. If we're talking about comedy, like concepts.
Which Jan's a big comedy guy. Yeah. I should mention.
Big comedy guy.
Big comedy guy.
You've heard of me.
Yeah, you've heard of him.
I have 9 Netflix specials.
That's right.
But they're very deep in the menus.
Yeah, you gotta browse.
Yeah, they're like in world affairs,
Yeah.
fictionalized.
They got ran
comedy,
wrongly. Yeah.
Strong female lead. 'Cause my name is spelled Jan. Yeah, like I absolutely love those games for that reason. They set up the premise really early when you get into a vault, and then you learn and explore the world a little bit, and then at the end you see a person, like the person who first made the decision to call everybody Kyle at the end with like, I don't know, like there actually is a vault for this, right? There is a vault.
I think
or David or something like that,
there
or
might
Gary.
be.
Oh, Gary. I think it's Gary.
It is
It's
Gary.
totally
Yeah.
Gary. And they all just say Gary.
Yeah.
Maybe I Fallout people are gonna be so pissed.
Yeah,
'Cause
dude.
I think
We're
we
gonna
fused-
get canceled by Fallout Twitter.
We fused 3 vaults, I
Yeah.
think, together. But what I'm saying is, like, those are so great because you're sitting in it the whole time,
Yeah.
and you're like, "What is going to happen? What's going to happen? What is
Right,
what's
you find
the
out
story?"
like this guy named Kyle cheats on his wife named Kyle because there was another woman named Kyle and he was trying to get away with it. And then at the end, you see like a corpse that's like crucified on a giant wooden Kyle.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's
Which is like the rule of 1,000, just like how many times can you say Kyle and it still be funny,
yeah,
or Gary or whatever it is.
Super funny.
Sorry, Fallout people. Please give a 5-star review to my Netflix special.
I want to be very clear. Because of Nick and I's handling of Fallout 76, I don't think any Fallout people are still
They're
listening.
no longer
They're
listening.
not- yeah, we
Okay.
We
that
were-
ship has sailed.
Which, I mean, there were no sailing ships in that. There were just
No.
ships. They were supposed to sail,
they
but you get on them and they just sink.
just sink.
Well, I'm gonna scratch back a few of those fans.
Yeah.
With my saying that I really like the comedy in those games.
Mm-hmm.
Or even like there's the tree person in Fallout 3 who is from like a different Fallout game, like I think from Fallout 2, and it's just very darkly funny what this tree person wants. He wants to die. it's the like in Aliens like the kill me. But
They have that mission in Borderlands too, actually.
do they really?
Yeah.
But it's a guy jumping around. He's like, "Shoot me in the face."
The mission is shoot Shooty McFace in the face.
In the
I
face.
believe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I'm glad that we're talking about this
Okay.
in general because this is a reference has been made in multiple games and obviously a lot of forms of media.
Mm-hmm.
It is a reference, and when we started this conversation, we were like, "Oh, Borderlands is so referencey. Why
It
don't
is.
They work because there's a shelf life for different types of references. I feel.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like Aliens has permeated the culture in such a way that's like, yeah, that's just part of the zeitgeist. Like we just say, kill me.
Yeah, it like represents something more. It's like, yeah, like it's part of the zeitgeist. I think
Yeah.
you're totally right.
Whereas what are those? I think is very purely like in movies 10 years from now that are like, remember the mid 2010s?
Yeah.
What are those will be like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Do you even think? I don't even think.
You don't think
What are
they'll make it
those
in?
is gonna have that much saying. I think Black Panther is really the only thing that
Yeah.
made us be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's. I remember that.
I remember it.
Yeah, and because that movie is going to be watched forever for the next 100
Right,
years.
Disney
'cause-
Plus.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out Disney Plus. What's up?
Sponsor us, please.
Please.
God, that would be good. Out of nowhere, right? Just like
yeah. Man, I'll take a rectified color scheme suit of Iron Man armor in a second.
that would be real talk. Probably the sickest suit of Iron Man armor
yeah.
ever. But all to say that like that reference of like putting a what are those in there. That has a time and a place. I think like that joke is maybe funny at one point. Does that mean that they shouldn't put modern day references in games because then they can't age? You know what I mean?
Oh, I get what you're.
Do you see what I'm kind of getting at here?
Oh yeah. Must comedy be timeless to be
Right.
valid?
Right. Well, because like sometimes you'll play a game like Monkey Island, and that game is super funny. Like when you go up and you're like, "What's in Grog?" and they keep listing what's in Grog for like 5 minutes, and you're just stuck there while they're just like, "Red die number 2, red die number 4," and they're just like still listing it. It's like that's funny, but does every game have to be that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Every
That's-
joke.
That's Monkey Island going more to I think what you were talking about, Jan, where it's just like principles of comedy as opposed to references to things that are funny.
Yeah.
Because the rule of 1,000 works in any situation, and so they're just like, we're going to list 1,000 ingredients of grog, and it's going to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Or like when he intentionally misinterprets stuff, like you see a giant X on the ground, he's a pirate. He's like, oh look, it's a giant plus sign.
That's very funny.
Man, the Monkey Island games are so good. Guybrush Threepwood.
Yeah.
You fight like movie fighting, like it's insult based, you know?
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it
Those games
is.
are wonderful.
Um,
Well, I think that's it, Nick. That's the thing. Principles of comedy versus a reference, because a reference is you're skipping all the parts where you set it up. A reference is like it's like a meme in
Right.
a way. Like a person has done all the work, or like the culture has done all the work. So when you make a reference, what are those? We all know the thing, and we just accept like
That's true. That is the setup. It's like
Yeah.
when you,
Whereas even like in a Gears game, when Marcus Phoenix Jr. or whatever says a joke, like we know that's coming from him as a character. Or like when Phoenix has a thing, it's on brand, right? Like it's in character.
Mhm.
And we like those. Those things are timeless because that's that character behaving in a way that is consistent with what that character is like.
Oh yeah, I was going to bring up the grunts in Halo 2 because
Sure.
Halo as well. I guess Halo 2 as well.
Halo 2 as well.
Halo 2 also.
I don't know about Halo 3, 4, or 5, or ODST or Reach.
Reach is the best one.
Okay.
Reach is good.
Well,
It's
how
also
the,
dark.
how the grunts in there.
Similar.
Yeah.
Similar. But like how they break up tension because you're in this horrifying war zone, and you'll like stick one with a grenade and they'll just be like, ah!
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like the Halo games are pretty silly, I think, underneath it all, which
They
is
are.
some of their staying power, is that they are not just, these horrifying war games, which they could easily just be. But you do have those grunts who yell and scream when, stuff happens. Or they have goofy stuff, like you can find a soccer ball, which is a different level, I think, of comedy.
I can't think of anything funnier than a soccer ball.
It's easily the funniest shape we've invented as a species. But it's
a,
also
a ball made out of pentagons? Come on,
Hey,
people.
we haven't even talked about the FIFA games and how funny those are.
Oh yeah.
That's why they make one every year.
Just a classic. People keep coming back to the well. They
Yeah,
do that
oh,
sweet
man.
FIFA comedy.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
all referential to the last year.
What do you think about? So, I'm just going to keep bragging about Jan. Jan is multilingual, and so what do you think about games having to be translated in comedy? How do you handle?
Ooh, interesting.
Oh, good question. Yeah, there's only one game where I've ever played it in the language that it was not, I think, originally intended. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Which,
Well,
so
you know what? I take that back because I played all the Metal Gear. I played a ton of Japanese games.
Yeah.
So I take that back.
Solid Snake is much funnier in Japanese.
Is he?
No, I have no idea.
I mean, maybe
how
he
great,
is.
how fucking killer would that be if you like learn Japanese, you
Yeah.
ported up Metal Gear Solid, and he's just like, "Huh, take that one, Metal Gear Solid."
He's just the corniest dude.
Yeah. Hey, will you do me a Metal Gear Solid and kill this guy?
Do me a Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Rex, more like Metal Gear Lame.
Get wrecked.
Get wrecked.
Get
Yeah.
wrecked.
Metal Gear
Rectified.
Get wrecked.
We
rectified.
dropped the name. This is the part where we would look into the camera and be like,
Yeah. We're all looking into
the
not
microphones.
camera.
Yeah,
We're all-
Right, straight down the barrel.
Can
of
you
our
guys feel
microphones.
our eyes? Okay. So yeah, I played Assassin's Creed Unity because I'm like, oh, this is in France, and I speak French, so I should play this game in French.
Yeah.
And it was unplayable because the lip syncing was more off than a regular lip syncing is.
Okay.
But also in a normal game, in the English version, all the characters speak with like weird regional English accents, which to me is also equally unplayable because I'm in French Revolution France.
Right.
Like at least in Assassin's Creed 2, everybody had like a cheesy Italian
They
accent.
did.
Right.
They
And I
really.
was like-
I felt at home.
That's why exactly.
As an ital, it was great.
But yeah, like I besides the fact that was also a broken game, I was like, I can't even get into the narrative here because I
Mhm.
can't play it in English because they're all speaking in weird English accents for French Revolution France.
Mhm.
And in French, I was just so distracted about the lip sync.
Would it be better if they had like terrible French accents?
It would be so much better if they were very baguette
Like,
French.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I was ready for that because those are B movies. Assassin's Creed games are B movies
Yeah,
at
totally.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm totally fine with that
Well,
because
I
I just
know-
want to stabby people in the throaty.
I don't know if they're even B movies. I'd say they're closer to like the Assassin's Creed movie. You know, it's a popcorn.
A D movie.
Right. What Martin Scorsese would refer to as popcorn flicks or roller coaster. Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Roller Coaster Ride.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I've always wondered because we Japanese games. Like I've often wanted to wonder. I wonder if I have the wherewithal and strength of character necessary to learn Japanese, so I can play like Persona 5. There's so much dialogue, so much text that I've read in English and I've heard voice acted in English, and it's like, and there's jokes in there. It's like, oh, that joke is funny. I wonder if that joke had. I wonder if they had to rewrite this joke
Like, is
so that
it
it'll
a
be funny in
one-to-one
English. Yeah.
representation?
So there would
of the
be
joke?
right. It's like what's more important, the exact thing being said or the spirit of the character like wanting to be fun, like a funny guy.
Yeah, I would
Like
assume the second one.
Yeah, like if a character makes a pun and it's like, oh God, Roger's making puns again.
Making
like,
puns
that's
again.
part of his character. Or if it, or maybe the wordplay is more important because it's related to the scenario. That's kind of the subs versus dubs debate in the anime community.
And puns are so hard to translate. You can't translate them because they just don't. The coincidences of language are just not the same. Right?
You say that, and yet we have the masterpiece of Brock using his frying pan as a drying pan in Pokemon.
That's true. So with one exception, proving the rule,
that's the one.
Puns would seem to be very difficult to translate across languages.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking a little bit before the pod about the word for paper and hair is similar in Japanese, and so you can make puns off that. But
you can make puns all day off that.
Yeah, but in English that just doesn't work. So people look insane when they misunderstand hair for paper.
Yeah,
it's like you're dumb.
Yeah,
I don't understand this.
Clearly these are different words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like no, this is a translation issue. This isn't a character issue.
Well, and even on translation, how do you guys feel about names being translated? Like
Evan becomes.
Well, like let's say, what's a character's name from Persona?
Yosuke.
Yosuke, that is not a common name here, right?
No.
Is a name important, or is it important to be like he has a common name, right? So is it okay to change his name to like
Josh?
Josh, good old Josh.
Yeah,
that's a good. Yeah, that's
you know
a
what I
really
mean?
Good point, Evan. Because I just recently watched Neon Genesis Evangelion,
mm-hmm.
and Asuka is a German girl. Well, I guess she's like German Japanese or something like that. But like,
sure, yeah.
I think
I haven't seen it. So.
Yeah, okay. So, anyways,
I know that's like
her
a
name
cardinal
is
sin.
Yes, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But her name is Asuka, and they're talking about like, oh, she's got such a pretty name, like all that stuff. But like for me, it was very difficult. It's like, wait, so she's from Germany?
Yeah.
But her name is Asuka, and there's not like a lot of explanation for it. But like, it doesn't matter at all.
Well, like,
really,
would it be better
I don't
if her
care.
name was like Heidi or
right? Or like,
yeah.
do I need her to be Heidi? Yeah,
right.
Or whatever, another German name.
Mm-hmm.
Can't think of any right now.
Yeah,
that's the one name.
That's actually a vault. Germany's a vault, and they're all named Heidi.
They're all named
all
Heidi.
the women are named Heidi.
Heidi.
That's the one where everything is translated first.
Right.
That's the crazy society.
Right. In Germany, if you go into the Kyle vault, it's Heidi's.
There are paper hair puns for days. Actually, that reminds me of the Phoenix Wright. Have you guys played the Phoenix Wright games?
I haven't.
In those games, the character Maya will often be like, I want burgers. Burgers are my favorite. And like what that is actually is ramen, right? There's kind of like an inside joke because like in game 2 or 3, they got into like not like a pickle, but they had established her as being like a big hamburger fan, but they showed her like clearly eating ramen, and it's like that did not translate. But what it is it's supposed to be like this like late night indulgent food that she's obsessed with, right? Okay. So that's like burgers in the West are kind of the same thing, you know.
So she
was ramen.
She was aiming for Taco
Bell. It's actually ramen, right? Exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. Yeah. How far do you take that translation?
Yeah, and then you'd have to translate the art assets also,
right? But which they did not.
Yeah.
Which
they just like pinned a hamburger over.
They didn't even do that.
But the chopsticks
are still there.
Burgers. Well, it's like the jelly donuts thing from Pokemon too. You know, have you guys seen that?
Pokemon 2?
In Pokemon,
I've only played Pokemon 1. I haven't played Pokemon 3, 4, 5, Reach, or ODST.
So much.
Pokemon ODST.
I love Pokemon Reach. It's the tragic prequel to Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, it's
Red
the best
Blue.
one. Pokemon Reach is the best one. You're right about that.
I agree. Pokemon Reach. Well, it has SWAT mode on there.
Yeah,
so
it's cool.
You can get the one shots. God, I don't even remember. Oh, in the Pokemon anime series, he's like, "Hey, I made breakfast," and it's like rice balls. But he's like, "I have these jelly donuts," and of course, they don't look anything like jelly donuts.
Yeah,
but it's like breakfast, right?
They're rice balls.
Yeah, they're
very those are so good.
Very super clearly rice balls.
Have you guys ever had rice balls?
Oh, yeah. No, but I've had jelly donuts.
Hey, can you pack your suitcase full of rice balls on the way back?
For the way
back? Nick's going to Japan.
Yes, I'll bring you back some jelly donuts. Winking right now.
Last time Nick went to Japan. Last time Nick went to Japan, he asked me if I wanted anything. He always does. He's a very kind man. And I said, yeah, I want an anime girlfriend. And Nick delivered. He found a mouse pad that I think you described it earlier as you were unsure how it was legal to print it.
Yeah, it's not real clear. She's dressed up in a maid's outfit.
There is some clothes on her.
Yeah, and
We don't need to get much more descriptive than that, probably.
But you know how like Barbie dolls got in trouble for being proportionately impossible? Like if you tried to grow a human being shaped like a Barbie doll,
They would just die.
like their
It would be
neck would break and everything.
Like The Fly, like Jeff Goldblum's The Fly.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So not exactly the same proportionality problems, but in a similar vein.
Right. She has to exactly. It's a very wide mouse pad. So
Yeah, it's like a playmat sized mouse pad.
Yeah. So that if you want an anime girlfriend,
Nick's the
ask
guy.
Nick,
Yeah.
ask Nick.
Okay.
He'll go to Japan.
Good
if you want.
to know.
And I'll grab some rice balls too.
Now, did that anime girlfriend translate when you bring it over?
Did her name change
I
when I
cannot
crossed
figure
the
out her
table?
name.
Is her name Jenny now?
I'm so-
But yeah, so comedy, timeless, or what do you guys feel about
I
that?
think comedy has an expiration date, and it's now. There's no more comedy.
We've run out.
We're
Time
out.
is up.
Time's up. No, yeah. If your comedy is rooted in your characters and how they interact with the world, if there's emotional truth to it, then I think that comedy will last a long time.
Mm,
I think your comedy will not last a long time if it's just
cheap.
cheap fast
It's
food.
like, here's the Pickle Rick gun. It is fast food because it's not
Ooh.
bad, but
It's tasty in the moment.
right. Yeah, exactly. But you can't. It's not. You're right. It's not going to have staying power. And I think both definitely have validity. You know, but I don't. I like the Borderlands games, but I saw a tweet that was like, I wish there was an option to turn the jokes off.
Yeah.
Like, you know how some games have, like, you can flip the gore on or off? Like,
Yeah,
someone's like,
like
can I
jokes.
just flip the jokes
Go ahead and
off?
toggle jokes off.
Good tweet. Whoever tweeted that.
Yeah, right. Shout out to
Shout
Twitter.
out to @funnyperson.
Yo, you ever get on Twitter.com, baby?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm at pronounced Jan.
Well, all right.
But I feel
This
like
is
we
not
might-
your platform,
I
bud.
feel like people might spell that wrong if they only hear it.
Yeah.
It's a really good Twitter
Well,
handle.
that's an Easter egg. For those of you who were listening, you know how to spell my name.
Yeah,
That's right.
Early in the podcast.
It's not just a cheap reference, by the
No,
way.
exactly.
It's very much built
That's
into the
a
podcast.
payoff right there.
Mhm. And I think on that note, let's take it to the bonus round. Fellas, it's that time again.
Oh, the bonus zone.
The bonus zone. And I want to talk to you about Echo Gear.
Oh yeah.
They make the best stuff, specifically mounts, specifically accessories. Well, I guess that's vaguely. Accessories is way vaguer than.
a bit.
But they make
Specifically.
They make a lot of
stuff.
badass periphery stuff. So if you need to mount your computer, if you got like a weird, say you got 3 monitors and one you want to stand up long ways and the other one you want like hamburger style, right? They're your spot. If you want to mount it in your living room, go for it, man. They are the best at what they do. They have not met a surface they cannot mount on yet.
Which is surprising.
Which is surprising. But they'll also help you pimp out your desk with like all sorts of desk chargers and wall mounts and stuff like that. I mean, basically, they make it so you have the most optimized gaming or even just, Reddit browsing experience possible. Go check them out. That's Echo Gear. And if you go get some nice stuff there, you can use a code TANRECTIFY for 10% off at checkout. And you support the show, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
But that's just
If you
me.
need one hamburger style, one hot dog style, and one ramen style.
Well, dude,
You can do that.
jelly donut style.
One jelly donut style.
Cool. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Control Freak.
Tell me about Control Freak.
Yeah, no, it's so great that they're also we've got a sponsorship relationship with them because I have actually used them before.
That is cool.
because
That is good.
Yeah, exactly. Because I have sweaty palms, and when I'm bad at games, I have even sweatier palms. And like, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it ruins your controller, messes it up. I'm kind of a neat freak as well as a control freak.
Well, I hate you
Yeah.
get so slippery that it just keeps like
Oh,
whoop, from your hand,
exactly,
slips
exactly.
out.
Oh, it's very funny.
And you got to
but-
juggle it around.
Yeah, if you don't want to deal with that, like they've got like these great controller grips. They got these like thumbsticks, which on a PS4 I definitely like go through a lot because you got the rubberized.
Yeah, and they're the precision.
So yeah, I really dig those products. They've worked before, so it's super cool that they're on here. Control Freak. If you use the code RCG at checkout, it'll be 10% off.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Nick Bills, do you have an epic from
Yes.
from Outbreak?
Outbreak Nutrition. I'll just go ahead. So Rectify at checkout for 15% off.
Yeah, let's get that one out of the way.
Because I'm about to take you into the world of Pathogen, the apocalyptic pre-workout.
Okay.
All right. And let me just go ahead. I want to tell you these flavors real quick. Double Barrel Berry, Nuka Colada, Agent Orange Pineapple, and War Torn
Oh my
Melon.
God.
They're not not holding back. So this one. So here's the flavor text on Pathogen. Created by Dr. Don after outbreak soldiers told him that they needed more help to survive and fight the Dawn. Dr. Don returned to the lab and locked himself away.
Wait, hang on. To fight the Dawn?
Yeah, so it's
but
Dr.
this is
Don.
Dr. Don. Oh, okay.
D-O-N.
Different Dons.
Yep, Dr. Don.
No relation. That's so. It's got to be like, I know I'm Dr. Don, but no relation
But
to the Don. It's very funny.
Yeah, it's a slip of the language. After a week, he exited with Pathogen. Its creation did more than just push the boundaries of what a pre-workout can achieve. It destroyed the boundaries forever.
Oh no.
You guys work out? Jan, you work out?
Oh yeah.
Evan, you work out?
No, but I'm flattered you asked.
Well,
I run.
Yeah. Why did you ask me, and why did you ask Evan?
Because I don't, which means I'm perpetually pre-workout, which I feel like means I can use this at any point.
Yeah.
That's
and I
true.
can use it as much as I want.
Well,
Someday.
the pre-workout is great. It's like a coffee sub too.
Yeah, this one's let's see, this one's got caffeine, theobromine,
you gotta get
stuff I can't
theobromine.
pronounce.
Oh, theobromine.
Theobromine,
Bro.
which I assume is the bro.
Theo's the best, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love me
I
some
mean-
Theo.
So if you ever would like to be a bro before working out, Pathogen from Outbreak Nutrition, once again rectified. Check out 15% off.
A lot of percents.
That is true. That is true. I want to bring your attention, listener, who is not in studio right now, to Nick Bell's shirt.
Oh yeah.
Jan, how would you describe this shirt to a listener?
Oh, that looks real comfy.
Yeah,
That looks real
it's comfy, but it's also slick.
Yeah,
right.
It's
That
slick
is
and comfy.
that is the official Rectified jersey, and it is from MetaThreads, the best thread company in the world. They make all our awesome Rectify gear. They make hoodies, whatever. I mean, you throwovers, our jerseys that all our players wear. So if you see, Wonder Bread tearing some stuff up, or Lil Cap doing his thing with some Brawlhalla,
Big D killing people.
Big D killing people, formerly killing people.
Right.
Well, I mean, he still kills people, but like just on his own time now.
Well, right.
They all wear that. I'm good doing it, and you can get them at MetaThreads. So go on there and search Rectify and find our products.
MetaThreads, Rectify.
And you can look good as Rectify podcast host Nick Bills.
Which
I mean, close. You could get close.
Yeah.
I'm like a baseline.
Yeah.
You could only go upwards. And then last but not least, let's talk about sitting down for a second, guys.
I love it.
I do it perhaps more than I should, but if I'm going to be sitting down, I prefer to sit down in an autofull gaming chair. Because, sometimes you lose track of time. You accidentally play Bloodstained Ritual of the Night for 5.5 hours.
And that is unavoidable.
You're sitting down the whole time.
Sometimes it just happens.
Get you a chair for sitting in. Autofull gaming chairs. We're all sitting down right now.
That's true.
Every chair I sit in is a gaming chair.
That's true. That's right. It's like a state of mind.
And on that, we're going back to the show. Back to the show. This has been the bonus round. And welcome back. That was the bonus round.
Love that place.
I am a consumer, and thus I love consumer goods
And services.
and services. I was thinking about this in the midst of that. You know who the constantly least funny character in a game is?
Who is that?
The Sidekick. Well, because they always have those barks, like when you're doing, when you're fighting, they're like, "Watch out, Tex," or whatever.
Right.
If you guys were a sidekick, what would your bark, one of your lines be?
You want it to be good.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it could be whatever. You want. Take a sec to think about it.
Yeah.
I think
I
I would
can
just,
edit
I would
parts
just
out.
constantly be like, I would not do that.
It would just be, you sure?
Just super passive aggressive.
I'm not sure if that's the best course.
You're
of
just gonna
action.
fight anyone, huh?
Or very carefully delivered, I'm sure you're doing your best.
Which is that's actually very Gladys.
Yeah.
From both Portal games, but
Oh,
even when she's not your.
I was gonna say, yeah, Portal 2. She's like your
She is,
your
yeah.
buddy.
When she's potatoes,
When she's a potato.
which she's so great at it, but she's and that works super well because she's reinvented as a sidekick.
Mhm.
She's
Yeah.
originally the enemy
Yeah.
turned ally, and that's so great.
Well, she was originally like an ally turned in, who was an enemy,
Right.
kind of, right? It's-
The false mentor.
Yeah, spoilers if you haven't played
If you haven't played Portal or
Portal
2
1.
in 2019,
or read any video game-based comic
It is-
website.
it is worth the $3.94 or whatever on Steam.
Jesus,
To get
that
both of
pricey
them,
now?
yeah.
Yeah,
Times are tough.
that's Canadian dollars.
Oh, thank you, Jan. He's from LA, not
Yeah,
Canada.
that's
but
dollars with a U.
The dollars. That's right. After the first O.
Yeah.
yeah, I just like, I don't know. What do you guys think makes a good sidekick?
Oh, can I tell you my favorite video game sidekick?
Please.
Was
I'm gonna get a
is
list.
Did you guys play BioShock Infinite?
Yeah.
So I don't know if she counts as a classic sidekick, but Elizabeth
Really?
is she's great. She can't die,
Okay, that is pretty sweet.
and she's there to provide like a foil for your guy, because your guy is just like taciturn, voiced by
Booker.
yeah, that's right,
Troy
Troy
Baker.
Baker.
Troy Baker. Yep.
It's like-
you play as Troy Baker.
Yep, and she's just a sheltered girl, and then she's being exposed to all this stuff, but she still helps. She like throws you guns and stuff.
Booker, catch.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you. I didn't. Thank you.
Did you play it on 1999 mode?
No, I didn't. so-
Jesus Christ! I needed every single thing she threw at me.
Really? Okay.
She was extreme. I mean, she's in normal mode, she's like not a problem.
Yeah.
In hard mode, she is necessary.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like that's the first game that I played all the way through. I was like, I'm gonna play this again on hard. I'm gonna basically platinum trophy this game.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't have made it without Elizabeth. it was very difficult. She finds you health sometimes too, and it's like, yes, please.
I do like sidekicks like that are not a burden.
Yeah.
Their game. I think those segments work in pieces. Like there's that segment in Metal Gear Solid 2, where you're moving around Otacon's sister.
Oh yeah.
And that's a good change of pace because you're stealth the whole game, and this changes things a little bit. You have to carry a person, and you have to worry about them.
Mm-hmm.
Doing that for an entire game, brutal.
Yeah.
I think like Last of Us did a good job with Ellie too.
Oh,
Similar-
Ellie's, yeah. Last of Us is, well, she adds like a little bit of stakes to it, I think. Even though she can't really get hurt or die if I don't.
I think she can be endangered,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
I cannot
Atreus
remember.
the same way in
Oh,
God
yeah.
of War, which I haven't finished. But so
Boy.
good.
Boy,
Boy. That was
No
Nick
boy.
Bill's game of the year last year.
I really like God of War.
It's great so far.
Mhm.
And Atreus is the other great thing about that too is like you're teaching him, right? You have a relationship with a sidekick.
Mhm.
It is not purely transactional,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
which is I think the Elizabeth thing that you were talking about is a little transactional. I mean,
Yeah.
she ties into the story a lot,
But
very heavily.
you don't really feel that with the character, though,
You
right?
don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
Like, that's not built through gameplay, you know?
Correct. Whereas with Atreus, you're like, hey, shoot, help me out. You know,
Right.
like you can upgrade Atreus, but you also can't control him, which I
Right.
think is really cool. This is what being a dad is like.
And
so,
he can be in danger. He can be grabbed by
Yeah.
enemies and stuff.
so if the sidekick,
Much like real children.
I think a
Yes.
sidekick, or I think we're getting to it here. We're trying to figure out what makes a good sidekick.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think in this case, like the sidekick is on theme. Like it helps with the theme of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like Atreus, you're not just protecting him, you're teaching him.
Yeah.
And you have to depend on him sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You have to work. Yeah.
Do you
so-
think a good sidekick has to be a foil of the main character?
No.
No?
In fact, one of my this is my winky best sidekick. It's the sidekick from Journey. You guys ever play Journey?
No, but so I almost don't, because I've went this long without spoiling it,
Yeah.
but because I like have a hint of what happens or
Okay.
what the deal is with the
Okay.
game.
If you haven't played Journey in 2019,
Shit.
it's a
Am
little
I-
bit more than $3.94 Canadian. But I think it is one of the greatest games ever made. Maybe the most universal game ever
Really?
made. And Nick, have you played Journey?
Should I? Is it
So-
one of these things
so you
that I
guys
should
do a-
stop listening because it's cool? Like there's a reveal.
I'm not going to reveal too much, but
Okay.
I think the sidekick, for those of you who have played Journey, which I can't believe I'm in a room with two people who haven't,
Yeah.
Right.
who do a gaming podcast.
Yeah. All right.
That's fair.
But like, it's a 3-hour game tops. If you're elite gamer, it's a 2.
I am elite
hour.
gamer.
You're
That's
elite
true.
gamer. Okay.
L33T baby.
Yeah,
Or
but I
7.
think the sidekick in that game is the best for me because and they are very similar to you. all I'll say.
Okay.
And it ties very well. It ties right into the theme of the game.
Okay.
And and they never say anything.
Oh, wow.
So that's a big plus.
Yeah.
Does
Okay.
Kazooie count as a sidekick?
I would say so. Well, here's what I'm gonna
'Cause
do.
it's
I
sort
have
of
I have a list.
Oh, if you had
yeah.
the list the whole time,
Oh,
why did we
man.
even
Well,
do
of
this?
the top 15, I wanted to establish the parameters,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
and we can see if we agree with this.
Okay.
This is the top 15 greatest video game sidekicks of all time. Obviously, this list is definitive, and we cannot argue with it.
Of course.
So,
It's on a scale from right to totally right. That's the scale we're working inside.
number 15, Cortana from Halo.
Okay.
Good sidekick.
I think so. Yeah, I think that to me feels like a 15. That feels like there's a relationship there that's built, like narratively built, but she doesn't really do a whole lot gameplay wise.
Yeah, she's kind of like, I mean, she's literally Cortana is now the assistant for Microsoft.
Yeah, that's
devices.
right.
Yeah, she got a promotion.
That's basically what she is.
How weird is that, by the
Yeah.
way? That, like, to me, I'm like, why would, what? Who wanted this? I mean,
guess
like,
it's a-
people who play games. I'm a Halo fan, of course, but.
I think it was a property that Microsoft owned, and it's like, yeah, well, we need a Siri equivalent.
Well, they also own Banjo-Kazooie, so why wouldn't they just go with Kazooie?
Kazooie makes a lot more sense, I think.
How
than
great would it
Microsoft
be
brand.
if you were like, hey, Kazooie, rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
Cloying, it's probably effective, but like you hate to use it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because she's such a bitch.
And also the gendering of those assistants is kind of weird. Just
You can
always.
get dudes. Mine's a British fella.
Yeah, but the default is like a nice woman,
Yeah.
you know? And it's just, these are all designed by men too.
Right. Well, probably, yeah.
And even Google is supposed to, that's the least gendered of them,
Mm-hmm.
but its default is a female voice.
Yeah.
Just something to
So
think
is-
about.
So is the Star Trek computer.
Major Albaret.
So did we start? We started this back in the original series. Back in what?
Well, sometimes it was male in the original series.
Oh,
Was
it
it?
was. Was it
Yeah,
really?
Sometimes.
Oh.
It's weird. It's weird when it happens.
I can definitely not picture a dude doing it, but also in my head, it's way better if it's like a brassy Italian guy or like a New York guy. You know, he's like, what do you want?
That would be good.
Yeah, any man containment field is dropping.
That's what I liked about A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the movie, where like I'm pretty sure the computer is like sad. Oh no, there's the Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman.
robot.
He's
That's great.
Marvin.
Yeah,
Marvin.
Yeah.
The sad robot.
Yeah.
Sad robot.
I think you all should know I'm feeling
We got
very
off
depressed.
track. Okay, so Cortana, 15.
Okay.
Yep. 14. Vivi from Final Fantasy 9.
Is that a psych? This is a character.
Man, I was gonna ask if your party members count. It's like
Yeah.
if we go to Final Fantasy VII, is Eris or Tifa a sidekick?
because the protagonist of the game is definitely Cloud.
Is Cloud.
Or definitely Zidane.
So do you have? So is everyone else a sidekick? Are you like a main character with 7 sidekicks?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I guess so, right?
And I thought like Vivi, for me, or Vivi, has way more personality than Zidane or Zidane,
Yeah.
and is almost more of a main character. That, I mean, even in the marketing for that game.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
well, it's you know what it is because Vivi is the black mage, right? Like that is Vivi has such an iconic look brought to life. I think that's so like interesting because a lot of the original Final Fantasy characters and designs that we all know are cool and we all obviously love them and know them, but they don't have a lot of personality just because they are a fighter you named Greg. You know what I mean? Like they're not.
Greg though.
Yeah, I love Greg. I named my whole party Greg. It was
Oh,
an
his
experiment.
name is Greg.
So I think that's part of why Vivi is more iconic.
You're right.
You know.
My personal argument is that Vivi is not a sidekick.
And well, number 13 is Tifa. So how do we feel about that?
Not a
Because
sidekick.
Tifa feels like a sidekick to me.
I think. Oh, I just don't think that those. I have trouble seeing those characters as sidekicks.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they have their own narrative stuff going on.
I
I guess
guess that
since
they're
you
not
don't
the-
have to
yeah.
experience it,
Yeah.
because you could just skip out on all. If you just do the main story from beginning to end, it's Cloud and Sephiroth, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you play as Cloud. Cloud is really the one making the decisions and stuff on the team. You know what I mean? That's who you are kind of emulating.
Yeah.
He's the one you can't remove from your party.
Right.
Just like
Exactly.
in 7 especially, Cloud is just so messed up, and Tifa is more of like a therapist for him.
No, quite the opposite. Cloud's in the original. We've talked about this before. Cloud's a dork in 7.
Yeah, well, he is before he becomes a soldier, and then like
No, he's like in the game. Like people just constantly make fun of him and like.
yeah,
Yeah. Tifa is like, closer to what people think Eris is. Like, Tifa's really the, like, sensitive one, you know?
Yeah.
Like, whereas Eris is like, I mean, she's a prostitute who makes fun of Cloud a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not really.
She's flirty.
Yeah, she's not like
fun.
this. Like a lot of the imagery is like very, I think, like holy, and you usually see her with like the flowers, which I think kind of represents a purity, but it's not really supposed to. Well, maybe it is, but in a different way. But I think a lot of people remember that game differently than it actually is, and I'll be curious what they do with Final Fantasy the reboot, because do they make it more like people remember it, or do they make it more like it actually is?
I'm curious just as well how that game is going to work at all.
I'm really excited for it.
I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
But I do think Tifa, like in the last part of that game, is like a therapist. She's putting Cloud back together.
Yeah, because he falls in the life stream and just is shattered.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of exposition at the end of the game.
Yeah.
My game crashed. You know, you go through the part of, I'm going to spoil Final Fantasy VII. So
Jesus
we're just
Christ.
on a train now.
Dude, it's literally 22 years old.
Well,
Yeah.
it's $24.99 Canadian dollars
$24.99 Canadian dollars
on Steam.
and
So.
$50 for the pre-order of the reboot
Of disc 1.
Of disc one.
Yeah, I made it all the way through that sequence where you're Tifa going through Cloud's memories in Nebel. Yeah. I forget the name of his hometown.
Yeah.
And then my game locked up. I was playing it for the computer because I came to it late.
Yeah.
And so I had to do the whole thing again.
Did you emulate it, or did you play it? Did you get the reboot?
I bought the CDs. It was like a 3
yeah.
CD ROM.
Those were so unstable too.
Wait, it was originally on
It was originally on PlayStation, but
Well,
I didn't
no.
have a
and
PlayStation.
it
But
came
then
out on PC. It did.
like recently, or
No,
we're
like
not
a
talking
year
when
after.
Oh wow!
I'm talking about 8th grade.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was a 3 CD ROM installation on a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, exposition theater. But I didn't know the word exposition yet because I was, 13.
Yeah. Wow, talkie time.
All right, time for more words, I guess.
12.
12. The man himself, Diddy Kong.
Ooh.
Diddy Kong seems like a good sidekick.
Formerly known as Puff Daddy
Puff Kong.
Diddy
Yeah.
Kong.
Now Puffy Kong.
Puffy Kong.
Yeah, Diddy Kong definitely smokes weed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Every day.
Yeah.
he's just hanging out.
I think Diddy Kong is a sidekick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I buy
I think
that.
Diddy Kong is a sidekick.
Yeah,
for sure.
That works.
12. I don't really have that much to say about Diddy Kong
No.
other than sidekick.
Yeah.
Does exist.
You know, he's lived the good life. He's unproblematic.
He's a great. You should see his old tweets.
Oh, really?
People are digging him up.
Maybe we
Oh,
shouldn't.
man, you should erase him.
Hey.
Well, Diddy works really well because Donkey Kong, I feel, is very, and this is kind of a silly thing to have a discussion about Donkey Kong, but Donkey Kong feels really serious and like, sturdy to me, and he's like always trying to like do the thing, but he's not very fun.
Boy.
Whereas like Diddy is, Diddy's really fun, and he's like he's really manic, and he's always bouncing around and stuff.
Yeah. That's a
Cartwheeling and
generational
shit.
thing.
Yeah, he's got more casual wear than Donkey
The
Kong.
formal tie.
Yeah, Donkey Kong's always dressing up like he's going to like a networking event or something. It's
Who's the old Kong?
cranky.
Cranky Kong?
Cranky
yeah.
Kong.
I think there's a line in one of the Donkey Kong countries where he's basically like, yeah, like back in the war, and it's like dark. It's like Nam. It's like Kong Nam. And you're like, oh. Well, anyways, bananas.
Would you say
Gonna get some bananas?
the Viet Congs?
That's actually that seems like a rare thing. Fourth wall breaking comedy. Just bringing it back to comedy for a second.
Oh, sure.
Kazooie breaks the fourth wall. I don't know if you guys remember the end of Banjo-Kazooie. You fight the boss.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the boss is over, and Kazooie comments.
I don't
boss-
remember the end because we either beat it recently and I was so drunk I didn't remember it, or I left before we beat it because I was so drunk.
Turns out the decision for shots after every jigsaw piece or death was a little aggressive.
There are a lot of them.
But,
well, it was shots of beer, so I was like, we'll be fine. But
We'll be
that's
fine.
still like
Turns out it's a lot.
it happens so fast. Like there's so many jigsaw puzzles.
And we died more as it progressed.
I hadn't really played it since I was a kid. I didn't expect us as adults. I didn't think like, oh, we're adults now. We'll be able to figure this out and do this
No.
more
Harder
frequently. Oh my god, dude, I was so drunk.
11.
that was an
11.
experience.
11 is Claptrap, bringing it back to the comedy.
Borderlands.
Claptrap feels like a good one.
I wouldn't call him a sidekick either.
I don't
he's
know.
Like,
he's
like
more
a
like a
narrator.
guide. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird list. 10.
0 for Mega Man. Also not really well, he's an interesting version of the sidekick because he's the sidekick that's better than you.
Mm-hmm.
And there aren't a
So
lot
like
of
you
those.
are the sidekick.
Kinda, yeah.
Ooh.
Puts you in the casts you in the role of the sidekick.
What a game concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind
You're
of
the
like
sidekick.
it's like Pokemon,
That's
where you're
so-
not as good as Gary the whole time.
Yeah, that's sort of, well, except you stomp Gary every time you play. It's not the same. But
Well, yeah, when you finally get to the end of the game, you
Yeah.
finally beat him. But he does everything before you better than you every time.
faster than
Is
you.
is there a game though where you play as a sidekick? Like,
Daxter.
straight up. What is it? Dak 2 you said?
Daxter?
Daxter?
Yeah.
What's Daxter?
It's the version, it's a PSP game
Oh,
where you
Jack
just
and-
play Daxter.
Okay, but
It's
are
not
you,
really
is your
like-
role in the game though?
Jack Sidekick? No, it's
No,
Daxter on like a
that's what
separate
I'm saying. Like,
dimension. Yeah.
what about a game
There-
where there is a main character and you're basically playing the support role?
I can only think of co-op games because
Yeah.
there's like,
Yeah.
Gooigi in the new Luigi's Mansion game.
or you can play as Cappy in the Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
Like the second player can control the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Ah.
Yeah, because I'm just curious gameplay wise. Like, would you be a little tongue in cheek about it and like you have dialogue options? Like, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, or I'm sure you're trying your best.
Yeah. Number 9 is Midna, who, that feels, Midna's a good sidekick.
Oh, from Skyward Sword.
From Twilight Princess.
No, from Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, TP.
She rides you around while you're a wolf, right?
Yeah.
That came out wrong.
Well,
Or it still came out right. I don't know. It came out accurately.
Clean those assholes.
Clean those assholes.
Number 8 is Tails, who is probably my favorite sidekick.
Oh, yeah.
I love the kind of like, hey, this guy he's just sort of a dude who hangs around. He can help out a little bit. Like, you can use him as a tool, or a second player can pick up and play as him. Kind of like the
Yeah.
hat, except meaningful.
Yeah, yeah. Second player Tails is really good.
Yeah.
In Sonic 2 and 3.
Yeah, I love that because I played a lot with my younger brother growing up. So.
Yeah. Same.
Number 7 is Potato Gladys. We kind of covered that one.
Oh yeah. I love how she tests her slow clap protocol. It's like, great. Well, that still works.
Number 6 is Garrus Vicarian from Mass Effect.
Oh, from
You
Mass-
know what? Yeah, like so he's in a party of a RPG-esque sort of game.
Yeah.
But he definitely feels like a sidekick to me.
Yeah.
Because he's like
It's
he
like a buddy
jokes.
cop
Yeah,
thing,
it's
yeah.
totally buddy cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, love Garrus.
I don't know if I would have put him.
Sexiest. Not Solarians.
Oh yeah, Vicarian.
Yeah, he's like what is it? Their species. Oh my gosh, starts with a T. No,
The
Hang on, I have it.
oh wait, the Turians.
Turians have the sexiest voices.
Commander, I'm doing some calibrations right now.
Doing some collaborations.
Number 5 is kind of a weird one. Launchpad McQuack from the DuckTales game.
I'm not sure I can comment on that one.
That's a deep cut.
Isn't that's the pilot, right? The
Yeah.
super jacked pilot
Yeah,
who accidentally breaks stuff all the time.
yeah, he's a great character. I just don't. What does he do in the game? I mean, at the end of the moon level, he's there, I guess.
I don't
But
think I've played it. I don't.
I haven't played it in a long time.
That's just somebody who remembered they played that game. When
Yeah,
they were a kid.
they're like,
Yeah.
someone's gonna like
Launchpad.
this.
This is a reference.
Life is like a hurricane, y'all. Number 4 is the weighted companion cube from Portal.
Oh yeah,
That is
You
devastating.
do get like an emotional attachment to that
and
cube.
and don't ruin it for the one
for the
person,
one person
who's
who hasn't-
Go pick
currently
it. You
still
pause that
downloading it from
podcast.
Steam.
Wait.
$3.95.
94 Canadian.
That's a great sidekick. And
I agree.
But it's like the most refined. I mean, that whole game is already just tight like a walnut in a corset, right? It's just like the tightest.
What?
It is. It's a
was
deconstruction of the
that?
sidekick.
Yeah, and it's like, what do we need a sidekick to do? It's like hit buttons. Perfect. We're making a cube.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, so good.
Number 3 is Yoshi.
That's a steed. That's a ride.
yeah,
That's
does
what
Yoshi
I'm-
supplant Luigi?
Well, I mean, so the number 2 is Luigi, but this feels weird to me because you're telling me Yoshi and Luigi are the same? Like we have them on the same level?
Because Mario sacrifices Yoshi on a whim to not fall down a hole in
Super-
a second.
Or is Yoshi just kind of willing to take the L so Mario can get forward? Because that's cool.
That's like
I
a
mean-
man's best friend sort of situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he also has no say.
Yeah.
It's like Mario decides to jump,
Yeah.
and Yoshi.
And they never
There
really,
is like a vat where Yoshis are grown, right? Like there's actually a lot of horror elements to Yoshi.
What? Really?
Well, I mean, like they're eggs, I guess.
Yeah.
They're like aliens.
Yeah.
But like, what is Yoshi? What is a Yoshi?
He's a little dinosaur guy with shoes. I
Yeah,
guess.
boots
but like
on.
like you're Mario, and like, well, I need to jump the gap and grab that flag. All right, Yoshi, jump as high as you can. Then I'm gonna jump off your back. And usually, what happens to me? It's like, oh, you will drown.
You're gonna
will
fall.
you're
I will
gonna
not
fall.
see you again.
I will
but
never see you again.
But I'll probably do the same to your next of kin.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, because there's just a giant just the eggs dropped all over the world of Yoshi clones.
It's like The Prestige. Did you guys ever see that movie, The
Oh,
Prestige?
yeah. I did literally with the drowning, too.
Yeah.
Perfect. Spoiler alert for The Prestige.
Yeah.
$3.94 in a Canadian dollar DVD.
But yeah, I don't think I agree with that because Yoshi and Mario seldom actually work together.
I agree.
He's more of like a pet, and I love Yoshi.
And I would say if one is a sidekick, the other one is not.
Yeah.
Like if you make the argument that Yoshi's a sidekick, Luigi's not.
Yeah, Luigi's just.
Luigi's a sidekick.
You
But
think
if
he's a
I think if
Yeah.
Luigi is a sidekick, I think Yoshi is not.
Yeah, I think.
I don't think they can both be because they're in two totally different realms, right? Like one is a tool, one is a brother.
Yeah, well, I guess. Well, no, because I'm thinking about it now, and Luigi doesn't often super like team up with. Yeah, that's not true. The Super Mario Brothers games, Luigi's a guy.
Yeah, he's the player 2 skin.
No, he's. I think he should be number one because number one is Epona from Laws.
Oh,
the Laws
horse
series.
Yeah,
that's such a hipster.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that pick.
think.
I think it should be Luigi.
Number 1, huh?
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't have put that one at number 1.
No Clank on this list. No Daxter.
Yeah.
This list is odd. But that is the definitive list. So,
Yeah,
I just
unfortunately,
we defined
and
it.
again, everyone in Rectify feels the exact
Exact
same
same
way.
way.
But let's go ahead and close out the show here. We do a little segment called "What Are You Playing?" So, Nick Bills, what are you playing this week?
I have been playing quite a bit of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. It's totally not a Castlevania game, but it's exactly a Castlevania game.
It's Metrovania or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, I
know,
watched you
and it's
streaming it.
and it's made by the guy. It's made by the so
Oh,
Konami's
it
not
is?
interested in making Castlevania games anymore.
So it's like the Mighty Number 9, but good.
Yeah, so the guy was like, I want to make a Castlevania game. Konami won't let me do it. So he left Konami, kickstarted this game. He's like, guys, if you give me the money, I will make a Castlevania game. 2D, exploring a giant castle. There's going to be demons and
You're
gothic.
familiar with it.
Yeah. And then it was incredibly successful. So successful, they hit so many stretch goals that one of the characters is now voiced by David Hayter. That was one of the stretch goals. Is that to get Zangatsu voiced by Solid Snake.
That is awesome.
They did
And
him
they
a
go-
solid.
Yeah,
Snake.
they did him a solid Snake. And there's an extras menu you can go into where it's just David Hayter reading stuff. Like,
Oh, that's great.
Hayter's gonna hate.
Nice.
And,
I would pay money just to have the David Hayter soundboard.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
and you get it with the game.
Wow.
So that came up recently. I've been trying out the Game Pass, and that came up on the Game Pass. So like, let me give this a try. And then I accidentally played it for 5.5 hours on stream the other day.
Nice. Wait, the Microsoft Game Pass?
Mhm.
Oh, shit, I have that. Gonna pick that up.
Yeah.
Jan, what are you playing?
Yeah, when I get back to Los Angeles, the city where I reside,
Hollywood, baby.
Hollywood, baby. I live in Koreatown. I intend on just beating God of War. It's
Yeah.
about time. Like, 'cause a friend lent it to me.
It is about time. It's one of those things where it's
I just gotta
hard.
do it. I just gotta sit down. And teach my boy
My boy.
Yeah.
how to get through the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I don't need to
It's
talk
really
about
good.
it more. It's Nick.
Yeah, Nick has said quite a bit about it.
And then I played a little bit of Control with a friend. And
How is that?
What's
Uh,
Control?
Control.
It's from
so
the
far,
Quantum.
I'm
It's
not
from the
sure
Alan
what it
Wake
is.
and Quantum Break folks.
Oh,
I forget the name of
Yeah.
the studio, right? But
It's super stylish. It's cool. It tries a lot of things. It's kind of like X-Files meets David Lynch.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
That is the vibe so far.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's really Give it a shot.
I will.
It does some fun gameplay things.
Mhm.
We'll see. We'll see how it develops.
Cool. I've been alternating between 2 games. I got Link's Awakening, which is
man, that looks adorable.
super cute, super good. My girlfriend has not really been into like video games historically, but like she is like all about Link's Awakening.
Well, it's an excellent game.
Well, she bought a Switch because she enjoyed Yoshi, she enjoyed Pokemon, and Untitled Goose Game was really what did it. But she spent probably more time playing Link's Awakening, so we've been playing through that, and that's fun. But there's also this excuse me, this indie game called Cardpocalypse that I've been playing, which is, you guys know me, I'm a big trading card game guy. This is like a card game, like Hearthstone or something, meets like a point-and-click adventure. You play as a girl who she moves to a new school, and she's like 12, and all the kids play this card game. So it's like kind of that, like, oh, Butch stole my pencil case. Will you go get it back? If you do, I'll give you a card for it or something, But
Is everything 90s?
Oh,
so
yeah.
far it sounds pretty 90s.
It's super 90s,
Okay.
and it's awesome. I cannot recommend it enough. It's exclusively in the Epic Game Store, but it's going to come to Steam and Switch and stuff later. But check it out. But yeah, that's going to be our show. Jan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And are you going to buy me a return ticket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
great.
I don't know if we actually talked about that.
No, I don't.
All right. Well, I'll be walking.
Well,
to
sorry, I
Los
thought.
Angeles.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
how
I just-
we
yeah,
did
you can
invest
hitchhike.
in a in like a Sherpa.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So it'll probably not take you too long to get there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be fine.
That's
A
great.
rickshaw.
That's right. We got you a
Pickle rickshaw.
Although it's actually a Gary Shaw.
Yeah.
Pickle Rick Gary Shaw.
Pickle Gary Shaw.
Man,
All
there's
right.
like a lot of references right there.
Yeah.
Let's see how that ages 3 years.
That's right. We'll come back. We'll cut back to this point. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, dated myself. Well, hey, thanks everybody for listening. And remember, wreck or get wrecked.
Bye.